E3, the Super Bowl of the video game industry. Every year gamers tune in to see what all the big video game companies have up their sleeves, and there was plenty of awesome projects that were shown this year. So I'm going to share with you some of the highlights from this year, some of the stuff that I'm personally excited about. First up was the EA conference, and they give us a better look at Titanfall 2, and it looks like a slight improvement over the first game. It still has the same feel, but with some new weapons, and one huge thing that the first game was missing was a campaign. I bought it, and I was extremely disappointed after paying for half a game, and getting bored quickly after about a day of playing. There's some people out there that don't primarily care about multiplayer. Some of us, we do exist. Why not have campaign and multiplayer? And if you're going to have a game that's multiplayer only, why not price it lower than $60 right out the gate? It looks like they did hear the feedback. They added a campaign, and it looks great. It looks like the Titans have a personal link to their pilots too, and I think that's going to be really cool to explore. It kind of reminds me of Voltron or Zone of the Enders.
What are your protocols?
Protocol 1. Link to pilot. Protocol 2. Uphold the mission. Protocol 3.
BT!
Protect the pilot.
And the Star Wars presentation was lousy. It almost felt like EA was telling us, hey, we're getting more Star Wars games out to you, but providing no details whatsoever. Of course, they made sure to mention Battlefront DLC. You gotta make sure you pay for that DLC since you already paid for half a game. Well, they announced another Battlefront installment.
Led by DICE, in collaboration with Motive, we're building on the foundation of the first game. We're listening to our players.
And they claim they heard all the feedback, so hopefully that means they added a campaign, now that they can. The original game had cut the campaign in the first place, to get the game out in time for The Force Awakens. Because you know, nobody buys Star Wars games if there's no Star Wars movies in theaters. Apparently. They showed some quick shots of a new Star Wars game. Again, barely any info provided.
They are exploring a different Star Wars era in their own third-person action-adventure game.
Just a weak presentation overall. I'll get excited when I know more. Mass Effect Andromeda, on the other hand, looks outstanding. Humanity's looking for a new home outside of the Milky Way, so you get a whole new galaxy to explore. This is one of my favorite modern franchises in gaming, and it looks like this one's going to retain that sense of wonder you get from exploring. I wonder what kind of alien races we're going to meet in the game too. I mean, if it's outside the Milky Way, I assume it's going to be all new races, all new monsters, and things like that. Battlefield 1 looks great too, graphically as usual. And I don't understand this whole Battlefield versus Call of Duty fan war. I buy them both every year when they're out, and I like them both for different reasons. And again, I'm a big campaign guy. And I feel this is where Battlefield always kind of lets me down. In Battlefield 1, I like the alternate World War I storyline. I think that's interesting. They're taking a piece of history and just changing it around and making it their own. I just hope that it's more than 4 hours long. That's how long the Battlefield campaigns usually take me to beat, on the hardest difficulty, and the endings usually suck. Here's hoping they've learned from previous games. And Bethesda came out and announced a remastered version of Skyrim, Skyrim Special Edition. I was one of the few gamers that missed Skyrim the first time around, so this is a great opportunity to experience it. I dabbled in it, and I always wanted to go back and play it, but it just fell behind in the pile of games, so I'll definitely be picking this one up. And Prey is back. I thought we were never going to get that franchise back since Prey 2 was announced forever ago and cancelled. I feel like nobody really played or talked about the first one. None of my friends ever know what I'm talking about whenever I bring Prey up. I bought it when it first came out on 360 and I loved it. In that one you play as a Native American guy and you shoot aliens that are harvesting people from Earth. And this new one looks like a fresh reboot using the name only. I'm looking forward to see what they're doing here. It looks like you're fighting some kind of shadow ink monsters of some sort. And Dishonored 2 is another game I missed out on the first time around. I have the remastered version downloaded, so I'll definitely finish that before playing the second one. I just haven't had a chance to go through the game yet. And the second one does take place in a different city, and they did a great job of making the city feel alive. It looks like they added more personality to the characters too, with voice work. That's similar to Isaac from Dead Space 1 to Dead Space 2. In the first Dead Space he didn't say a word. In the second game he's a full-fledged character with speech and everything. And Gears of War 4 is a day one purchase for me. It looks intense, and if you've played a Gears of War campaign, you know it's going to be action-packed. And it looks like instead of fighting the Locust, there's some kind of new enemy called the Swarm. I'm wondering where they come from, because after 3 it seemed pretty clear to me that the danger was over. Did a good job of concluding the franchise, so I have no idea where these new monsters come from, but it was great seeing Marcus as an old man too. That was a nice surprise.
Welcome home, James.
Speaking of surprises, General Rom coming to Killer Instinct. What? I was overjoyed when this popped up. Killer Instinct is an example of a great fighting game. We already have Rash from Battletoads in it as a guest character, the Arbiter from Halo, and now we're getting a character from Gears of War. Yes, please. And it seems like Final Fantasy 15 is finally coming out. Graphically, it looks great overall. And I do like that the franchise keeps moving further away from the whole taking turns hitting each other thing that Japanese RPGs tend to do. I find that kind of gameplay super boring. And the gameplay they showed us at E3 had them fighting a huge titan, which shows we're still going to get ridiculously awesome boss battles. And Tekken 7. It was a treat seeing that Akuma is being introduced into Tekken, although realistically speaking, Heihachi would stand no chance against Akuma. Ryu barely gets out alive fighting Akuma. Heihachi would not stand a chance. And I really hope it's a traditional fighting game. Just have us beat an arcade mode to unlock more characters, have story intros and individual character endings. I pray they don't bring back the stupid campaign mode from Tekken 6. And Dead Rising 4 looks as ridiculous as ever, with Frank West coming back to the franchise as the main character. And it looks like they're keeping the vehicle crafting feature from Dead Rising 3 and making it even more ridiculous. And this new Scalebound game looks crazy. It looks like a cross between DMC and Crimson Dragon. You have these kids that are wearing modern clothes, listening to music on Beats headsets.
Okay, we're through messing around!
Flying dragons and fighting giant crabs. I don't know what the hell is going on in this game, but yes, I am intrigued. Halo Wars 2 looks great. I remember when the original Halo Wars came out, I lost entire nights playing it. Getting my base built up and sending an army of vultures after my friend's base, watching it burn to the ground mercilessly. I'm glad Halo is bringing this back because I feel like the first one is underrated. I feel like it's one of the forgotten games in the Halo franchise that no one ever talks about. And I know a lot of PC fans hate on it a lot because it is a much simpler versions of games like StarCraft, so it's easier for people that aren't used to those kind of games to get into, that normally aren't into strategy games. And make sure you check out the beta. It's free to download on Xbox Live. I played it the other day and I spent about 4 hours just playing it. Worth it. And Microsoft announced 2 versions of the Xbox One coming out. We've got the Xbox One S coming out later this year, and Project Scorpio coming out late next year. Confused? Well, here's the difference. The Xbox One S is the Xbox One, but it's 40% smaller, has a 2TB hard drive, and it can stream 4K video and play Ultra HD Blu-rays. It does not do 4K gaming. It's simply not powerful enough. The Xbox One S is aimed more at people who still have a 360 and are ready to make the jump to Xbox One. If you already have an Xbox One, it might not be worth upgrading to this console because Project Scorpio is on the way. Project Scorpio is the major upgrade. It's still an Xbox One, it's not a brand new console, but it does support virtual reality hardware and 4K gaming on top of everything else. And with an 8-core processor and a 6 teraflop GPU, this is a beast of a console. Just to compare, the 4K PS4 coming out is said to only have 4.14 teraflops. It shows that there is a difference between the two consoles that may give the Xbox the advantage when it comes to games that come out on both consoles. This is the Xbox that you want to upgrade to if you have an Xbox One and a 4K TV. There's no word on pricing yet, but I bet it's not going to be cheap.
True 4K visuals without sacrificing quality, premier VR experiences without sacrificing performance.
And Ghost Recon Wildlands looks like a big step up for the franchise. I love that they went open world with this game, and even better, you could play the entire game with your friends, taking down the drug cartels.
Hang on, guys. I'm nearly there.
Damn it. Okay, I got him.
Yes, he stopped.
I'll get him. Be careful.
Ride's here.
How'd you get, buddy? Hurry up, we got cartel reinforcements incoming.
And the new South Park game, The Fractured But Whole, looks hilarious. I'm not even that big into South Park. I'm familiar with it, but I don't watch the show on a regular basis. But I'm absolutely buying this game. You make your kid into a superhero, and the game is a parody of Civil War that throws a jab at comic book movies as a whole.
Go ahead, I bet you don't even get halfway through phase 1 on your franchise, DC Comics.
I didn't get a chance to play the Stick of Truth, but luckily buying this game gets your free copy of the Stick of Truth on next-gen consoles. And For Honor looks like one of Ubisoft's more interesting franchise. It almost reminds me of Rise, and it also seems to be a hack and slash title, which I always find enjoyable. What I think is really cool about it is that you can play as Vikings, Knights, or Samurai, and each faction has its own campaign. So this is definitely a title to look forward to. And Watch Dogs 2. Watch Dogs 2 takes place in an entirely different city from the first one, and looks like a fun open world game, where you can run around and waste a lot of time. The new main character though, he looks stupid. As soon as I get an opportunity in this game, I'm changing his entire look. I remember you could wear different clothes in the first game, and I refused to look like this character throughout that entire game. And the first game was good, but it felt a little boring at times, so I hope this one moves a little faster. And I do have to say that Sony completely stole the show at E3 this year. I mean, they just showed game after game after game. The first game they came flying out with was God of War. And when Kratos popped up on the screen, the crowd went wild.
I am hungry.
This new God of War takes place years after God of War 3. And you can tell Kratos is older and his personality's a little different. He's almost a bit more relaxed, a bit more calm. So it's definitely nice seeing his character growing. And he's got a boy with him in the game too that refers to him as father. So I'm wondering where that boy popped up from. But I'm pumped to see how Kratos ended up in this world of Norse mythology. The gameplay video they showed had him taking down a troll, and he does the ultimate man yell. Glorious. Thor might have some trouble headed his way. And the creators of Killzone have a new franchise, Horizon Zero Dawn. The end of the world already happened, and humans form scattered tribes that hunt robot dinosaur creatures. And this game looked amazing last year when they first introduced it, and it looks even more amazing now. It's a welcome addition to the world of gaming, and it's always nice having a strong female lead character. I feel like we don't get enough of those.
That on October 13th, PlayStation VR will make its debut in the United States.
One of the strong points of Sony's presentation was the virtual reality presentation. This is guaranteed purchase for me. I mean, on top of the fact that I want to show you guys all the new technology that comes out in the world of gaming, I've always been an early adopter. All the new technology out there for video games, I buy. And not all of it always turns out well. I haven't experienced VR yet, and I understand the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive are out there already on PCs, but I always prefer console. My PC setup isn't in a very convenient spot for gaming, and $399 is a good price point for a VR headset. I just hope we get some legitimately quality VR games though. This technology needs to be seen as more than a gimmick. I mean, look at the Wii. Everybody was going crazy over motion controls until the market was flooded with all kinds of of garbage, leaving Nintendo as the only developers that were actually using the technology to make good games. With the Move controller, virtual reality guns, combined with the VR headset, Sony might have a game changer on their hands. I'm already seeing some strong contenders for VR technology, but I'm seeing some red flags though. For example, Resident Evil 7 got revealed, and shockingly, it's a first-person game using virtual reality, optionally, for the entire game. This is how you embrace new technology. And they also revealed 2 games that I feel are the perfect example of what's going to make VR seem gimmicky. We've got Batman Arkham VR, which everyone seemed excited about, but later on was confirmed to be 1 hour-long VR experience. It's not even a full game.
Does it even matter? After all, if you find a mask that fits, you never need to take it off.
And Star Wars Battlefront X-Wing VR Mission. Again, not a full game. Hopefully this trend doesn't continue. To justify a $400 headset, Move controllers, and whatnot, we need quality games, not these short little VR tech demos. It's not enough. And the old Crash Bandicoot games are getting remastered with today's technology. No bad news there. And the man, the myth, the legend, Hideo Kojima came on stage and revealed his new game, Death Stranding. I'm not even going to begin to explain what the hell he showed us, but if he's involved, it's going to be a hit. Oh, and naked Norman Reedus with a baby is in it. Yeah. Insomniac came out of nowhere and announced a 100% PS4 exclusive SpiderMan game. Not based on any movie. You've got a quality developer working on an exclusive SpiderMan game. This is a game to keep your eyes on. We may finally get another superhero game other than the Arkham franchise. That is amazing. No pun intended. And finally, Nintendo. Nintendo showed off The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. And this game might be revolutionary for the Zelda franchise. It's a true open-world Zelda game, and it is beautiful. It reminds me of games like Skyrim. In the gameplay they showed us, Link constantly finds different items to equip that affect his stats and change his appearance. And graphically, it looks like a mix of Wind Waker and Skyward Sword. No force on earth is going to stop me from getting this game. It was just a great way to end an E3 that was already full of exciting games coming out.
The first Zelda has taught us this.
Oh yeah,
Check
that water looks
waterfalls.
super cold. Yep. I'm just gonna try not to go too far. Oh.
I hope you all enjoyed my little E3 breakdown, and remember to subscribe and leave me a comment down below. What was your favorite thing that they showed at E3 this year? On the other hand, what do you think sucked? I can tell you that entire EA Sports presentation had me falling asleep. Anyways guys, this is Fabian from GamerThumbTV, and as always, till next time.